Welcome to The Detail, everyone. I am your host, Cathy Antunes, and you're listening to The Detail on WSLR 96.5 LPFM in Sarasota, Florida, and WBPV 100.1 LPFM in Bradenton, Florida. We're also streaming live on Facebook. So if you want to go to the WSLR Facebook page, we are streaming live today. We have video as well as audio. And that's because we have a candidate with us. This is our District 1 candidate forum. With us today is candidate Mark Pienkos, who joins us. And Mark, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Cathy. Good morning.
Absolutely. And Commissioner Mike Moran is the incumbent that Mark Pienkos is challenging in this race. We did reach out to Commissioner Moran, unfortunately have not heard back. So Mark, we're very happy to have you here today to talk about your candidacy. So let's kick it off with, Mark, why are you running? How long have you lived in Sarasota, or have you been coming here? I know people want to get to know you better. Where do you live? And then why are you running?
Sure. Again, good morning to you and all our listeners and people on Facebook, etc. Good morning.
Absolutely.
Again, Mark Pienkos, and I'm again running for County Commission District 1 seat, which is the northernmost portion of Sarasota County. My wife and I have lived in Sarasota County permanently. We live in the Meadows for the past 3 years, since 2017. We've owned property in the Meadows since 2015. And actually, we've been coming to Florida ever since our honeymoon 48 years ago, and several times in between. Basically, we love Florida. We love Sarasota. And the reason why I'm running is because I see the need for some changes. I'm hearing it loud and clear from people who I've been speaking to. And I think that this election cycle is crucial. Every election is crucial, but this one in particular, with all the different things that people are facing, both first of all on the national, even global front, but here more locally, and I'd like to try to concentrate on local issues. There's a lot at stake, and I'm hearing that loud and clear from different people. But again, my background is that I was born in Chicago, and met my wife on her 16th birthday. We both attended Northern Illinois University. I received my bachelor's and master's degree from NIU and received her bachelor's degree from Northern. And then we moved to have our family and work careers in Wisconsin. And pretty much we lived in rural areas of Wisconsin. And so some of the areas that here in Sarasota County mirror in its own way our own life back when we lived in Wisconsin. We had a very great career there. We have 3 children. Our oldest is Michelle. She's living out in California, in Los Angeles, and suffering some of the effects of the fires that are taking place there. Also, we have a daughter with 2 grandchildren and her husband in Syracuse area, New York. And then our son, Stephen, is just completed his MBA in Mexico City, Mexico, in international business. And again, you know, we've come to Florida to live full time. We love this area. We dove right in to activities here in the community, just like we did previously in our lives, whether it be in our church, our schools, our civic organizations, political organizations, ethnic organizations, and we're doing the same thing here. And I'm an elected Homeowners Association board member for the Meadows MCA. Ann and I also are involved with the Polish American Association of Sarasota. We also are spring training members of the Baltimore Orioles staff. I'm a 4th degree Knight in the Knights of Columbus. We belong to St. Jude's Church. Again, we're very much involved. I'm involved at the national level in the Polish American Congress. I'm a vice president for public relations. And then also, I think what's important is that I am a lifelong Democrat. And again, served in many different capacities in politics. Also was elected to a nonpartisan race several years ago. And I am also a Joe Biden delegate to the Democratic National Convention just recently held. And again, I'm a precinct captain in 121, which is the Meadows. So, my wife Ann and I, we love Sarasota, and we're happy to be here. But we also know that part of our civic responsibility is to be involved, and where there is a need for change, to be a part of that change. So, thanks for listening to my little introduction.
Okay, thank you, Mark. That's great to hear all the ways that you're involved in Sarasota. I just wanted to clarify, the MCO, is that the Master Community Organization for the Meadows? You said you're on the board there. Is that right?
7,000 residents in the Meadows, and I'm on the board for the Meadows. Yes.
Okay, so it's not just the individual neighborhood; it's the whole master, because it is a huge neighborhood. Yeah,
right.
The Meadows is
big.
Okay.
And so many other places, a great place to live.
Yes, yeah, it is a great place to live and a convenient location. So, Mark, tell us, the COVID-19, let's start there. This has changed our lives dramatically. The COVID-19 pandemic is reshaping the approach we have to take to work, education, socializing, and more. What adjustments do you see the county needing to make due to COVID-19, financially or otherwise? And then I want to ask you also what you think of a mask ordinance.
Sure. Well, first of all, boy, what a difficult time that we do live in. Everybody is affected in some fashion. Our hearts go out to the people who have, unfortunately lost loved ones because of the virus. And again, we're trying to get it under control. This is, the effect that it's had not only on those people's lives and their loved ones and their extended family, but also the issue of how it's affected our economy. Again, our hearts go out to the many people who have lost their jobs, are still unemployed, and who knows if they'll be able to get their job back soon, if ever. Small business, restaurants, things like that, just a very, very difficult time. At the same time, and by the way, also our people on the front line, our people who work in hospitals and anyone working to try to help people who may be ill or trying to recover. Just fantastic people that we have seen come to the fore, heroes. But I also, want to say that we've seen some very, good things happening at the same time. I mean, people that we tend to not really realize the importance. They are becoming so much more important. Those are the people that, for example, supply our food stores. Are working in our food stores, working in our pharmacies. The people who pick up our recyclables and trash, and how about the people who deliver our mail? I mean, there's so many people that also have stepped up. And in many ways had already been doing that job. That was their job. But now we recognize them as being very, very important, special, and we appreciate them. So the pandemic has caused all sorts of things to happen, but we also have seen this I think, a revelation that these people who have been sort of taken for granted are so special and important. At the county level, I'm pleased that finally the 18 plus $1 million amount of money that the county has to be able to spend via the CARES Act is finally being distributed. This is something that hopefully will help people, but there are some people that are going to need help in obtaining those funds, because there are, like anything else, forms that have to be filled out. You got to make sure that you dot the I's, cross the T's. So those are things that are very, very important. But again, this has changed our lives. There's a $1.3 billion budget that the county has. We're going to have to really take a hard look at expenditures because revenues are down, tourism industry is down, and we just have to take a look at how we spend our nickels and dimes. Those are precious dollars that our taxpayers have provided the county, and so we just have to make sure that we do that correctly. I know you asked about masks, but if you want me to just move into that, I'll be happy to do that.
Sure. Yeah. Tell us your thoughts on requiring masks.
It's really a shame that the issue of masks, and there's other things that have been so politicized at a time where if we could only bind together if we could only understand the bigger picture, the goal. In the issue of the pandemic, COVID-19 knows no Republican, Democrat, Independent, young, old. It doesn't matter. You can get sick, and one of the ways, besides social distancing and good hygiene, is to wear a mask. Certainly, wear a mask when you're around other people who you're trying to prevent. Perhaps you're spreading the virus. It's unfortunate that it has become a political issue. It's really a shame that it's become a political issue, because it was stated many months ago that if we would just simply wear masks, we would tamp down the virus. Yesterday, the CDC chairperson, leader, Dr. Redfield, said that even before the vaccine that we hope to eventually see produced, that wearing a mask is probably the best thing that we could do. So we should be following that, and some communities have done that. The city of Sarasota, city of Bradenton. I think that recommendation, a strong recommendation, certainly should be made in Sarasota County, mainly because again, it's a vehicle to be able to help people try to tamp down the virus. And the other thing that I think is really important is that it shows unity. We let's not be political about it. Let's have unity because we have one goal in mind: save lives.
Yeah, that's so important. Having lost, my dad to COVID-19, he lived up north, and that was before people understood too much. Well, masks would have made a big difference, so I think your point is well taken, that this is a public health issue and we need to address it that way. So, Mark, can you share, this is the first time in over 20 years, about 20 years, that county commissioners are being elected by their district. There was an amendment to the county charter in 2018 that passed, changing at-large voting, where everybody in the county votes for all 5 commissioners, to single-member districts, where just the voters in a particular district vote for their representative, much like Congress. The whole state of Florida doesn't vote for all the congressmen. We each vote for our individual representative. Proponents of single-member districts said, and they were successful in making this argument to the electorate, that there will be greater accountability because, districts will be able to say, we didn't like the job you were doing, and someone representing Newtown, folks in Northport may not really understand what's going on in Newtown. So District 2 or District 1 for people in Northport isn't on their radar. But the criticism of single-member districts is that the greater good may get lost, that there'll be horse trading in the background, which I would expect there's already some horse trading, but let's say that happens more and the greater good can be lost or suffer, the county as a whole. So I'd like you to say, as a county commissioner, if we elected you, how would you approach this difference now in representation? How would you govern and deliberate, knowing you're responsible to your constituents, but you've got the whole county to think of?
Mm-hmm. Great question. I'm very much in favor of single-member districts for the reasons that you explained. You are more accountable to a particular group of individuals. You also are not having to raise as much money. You don't have to cover the entire county when you're running for office. I'm a very staunch advocate of single-member districts, and I think it also enables more people to think about running, which I think is excellent. I think more people should run for political office to share their ideas, to try to figure out if they do have the right pulse on the people that they want to represent, and to bring those ideas forward. But as far as the entire county, even though District 1 occupies the northernmost part of the county. I still am going to be extremely interested in what's going on throughout the entire county. It only makes sense. But when bringing up issues that are, near and dear to the people in the first district that I would be representing, I will be able to, I think, articulate better, what is going on, because I should know what is going on by meeting with people, by listening to people, and then being able to explain that, to my fellow commissioners. And also at the same time, I should be willing to listen to their concerns that might be happening in 2, 3, 4, and 5 districts, because they have a particular interest in wanting to make sure that those things are taken care of. So to try to answer that question, I think being held accountable within your own district and being able to know your own district extremely well is very important. But at the same time, realizing that it's crucial that the entire Sarasota County is an entity that I also have to be concerned about. I have to be willing to listen to the voices that are out in those districts as well as my own. But I do think the single member districts provides this opportunity for people who live in a particular area to have a representative that they can see as their representative on the county commission, bring their ideas, bring their concerns to the commission through that district commissioner. So I think it's a great idea, and I think all the people who passed the referendum in 2018, it passed 60-40. It was not just in the squeak through. There was a clear majority who said we want to have single member districts, and so let's not only see how it works, but I think it will work very, very well.
Yeah. One thing I've seen that's changed is, as the point you made, more people are running. So that is a great thing. If you're just joining us, you're listening to The Detail on WSLR. I'm Cathy Antunes. With me is Mark Pienkos. He is running for the Sarasota County Commission District 1 seat. He is challenging incumbent Mike Moran. We did invite Mr. Moran. We did not hear back from him. So Mark Pienkos, let's talk about transparency. As someone who has watched the county commission for a long time, I remember a 2014 promise made by then newcomer candidates Paul Caragiulo, and Al Mayo, who both said that they would put county commission emails fully online. So this has to do with transparency. The emails of county commissioners every single one of them is public record. But for years, the county has not made their emails easily accessible to the public. What is your view, despite the promises, because both candidates were elected, Caragiulo and Mayo, and then they didn't follow through? What is your view on putting commissioner emails online, full transparency?
Good question. By the way, if you say something, you should follow up and follow through. That's crucial, because that's what builds trust. Yes, I would. I have no problem about having my. I'm out there right now with my email address, my website, my phone number. I'm out there already. I would have no problems about publishing that. If I could tell just a quick story. Just
to clarify though, Mark, when I'm asking you about the emails, so in other words, when citizens send emails to the county commission or anybody regarding county business, but using the public email address, it's a public record. And it used to be that we could, in the city of Sarasota, we used to be able to just go on to the website and just look at them all. So it's not really just about putting your email address out there. It's the public's business being transparent to the public. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay. People need to be careful how they, what they write, because if they know that it's going to be public knowledge, as well as also any type of responses that, again, that type of dialogue makes sense.
Okay.
And I was going to say something just real quick.
Sure.
I remember starting a position as a superintendent, and my secretary gave me the list of all the staff members. And I said, well, where's my name? where's my name? Where's my address? Where's my phone number? They said, no, the previous superintendent didn't want that information out. They said, put my name on there. And I always told my staff, you can call me 24/7. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
If you need me, I'll try to be there for you, always.
That's great. Okay. We're coming up on a break, but I want to get one more question in, and this has to do with the Moat Marine Aquarium that is being proposed. Well, they're moving toward funding this, and the county commission has approved a $20 million bond. This is at least the third. Well, I think it's the fourth one now. We've got one out there for at Smith Stadium and the Orioles. We've got one out there for the Benderson Park rowing facility, another 20 million. We've got one out there for the Brave Stadium down in Northport. Mm-hmm. And now there's a 20 million bond, and this is funded with tourist development tax. So this is the bed tax, this is the hotel tax, and these dollars are supposed to go toward improving tourism because it is funded by the hotel industry. However, I'm wondering, and again, tied, to what's going on with the pandemic and revenues are down and these kinds of things can happen. What do you think about these $20 million bonds that the county keeps approving? And should the county walk this back or revisit it given what's going on with visitor revenues being down with COVID?
Yeah. Again, $20 million, a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Let me say this, when the project itself, and it's, by the way, it's right in pretty much our
It is in your district, yeah.
By UTC there,
mm-hmm.
University Town Center. The 700,000 people per year that annually are going to be visiting the new structure, beautiful architectural structure, certainly will help the tourism industry. Mm-hmm. It also will also provide some other challenges because it also means more traffic congestion, more pressure on that, certainly in that particular area. But I will say this, there are sort of two sides to me on this one. I think of my grandkids. My grandkids going to a facility like that, to be able to understand nature, to be able to understand aquaculture, to be able the science involved, the beauty of the environment, is intriguing to me because I know the benefits of how that can inspire people to perhaps begin a career in that field, or some associated field, or just a greater appreciation. So, I'm torn because I see the value of that. But I think what's really crucial is, you brought this up, we're in this catastrophe of COVID-19, which is going to is having a tremendous impact on tourism dollars. Mm-hmm. We've made a commitment. We've got to be careful about reneging on commitments, but we also have to be very careful, I think, about once we've made this commitment, to make sure that all parties involved really bond together, work together, especially in the environment that we're in right now, to make sure that every promise that has been made is kept by not only the county, but also by the people Moat, trying to make sure that this is going to be delivered in such a way, because we can't just have a facility and then all of a sudden we find out that we need more money. We need to throw in more money into this project. Can't do that. So I'm torn because I see the tremendous value of this for the things that I just outlined, mm-hmm. for now and for future generations. Not just a tourist kind of a neat thing to go visit, but the practical and the experience and the experimental nature of it. But also we have to be very careful of our expenditures, because again, we're going to see a downfall. We're seeing a downfall in our tourism dollars and all the other things associated with it. Sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that answer, Mark. And one of the reasons you don't typically see a challenge to the incumbent usually in the Sarasota Republican Party. And of course, in your race, there was a challenger to the incumbent within the Republican Party. And this was due to the Keep the Country Country movement in Old Myakka. So Mike Hutchinson came into the race to put out a different viewpoint regarding development. What's your take on the Old Myakka movement and keeping the country country in Sarasota?
Yeah. Two things. First of all, to Mike Hutchinson, as I have contacted him to reach out to him to basically say many of the issues, even though we're of a different political party, many of the issues we are really actually stand together, especially about the environment, his concern about traffic congestion, keeping the country, urban sprawl. And I do want to commend Mike for his tremendous effort in the primary. But I think the folks in Old Myakka are right in their efforts to try to keep their country, but also there's a historical aspect which we all should really gain a greater appreciation of what they're fighting for. This is not just a we don't want this, we don't want that. No, this is trying to preserve something that is extremely special. And I have said this, that battle cry of keep the country should be a battle cry picked up by everybody in Sarasota County, because it encompasses many of the other issues that are being talked about regarding the environment, regarding red tide, regarding traffic congestion, regarding just our way of life that is changing because of the development that's taking place, and the issues that will take place as a result of development, especially east of the
Excuse me. Yeah, Mark. And I just wanted to jump in because I want to make sure the audience understands the whole movement. And Becky Ayash was on last week talking about this. But under the Sarasota County Comprehensive Plan, there is a process that neighborhoods can go through to amend the comprehensive plan and propose their own development changes. And to your point, the movement among Old Myakka residents is basically, hey, we live a rural lifestyle. Many of us are employed in agriculture. We have farms here, orchards, and we are looking to kind of solidify this lifestyle, make sure, as it says in the comp plan, Sarasota County comp plan, that there will be a diverse range of lifestyles from the rural to the urban. So that particular movement is actually something that our local laws provide for, and yet it's not really being met, at least by the Planning Commission. It is not being welcomed. They unanimously voted against it. So anyhow.
Yeah, and again, but you mentioned Becky. Becky is
yes,
quite an individual. You talk about a person who's devoted her life to a lifestyle that is that's her. That's who she is. You have to give her tremendous credit.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: the folks in that area are just following the rules. These are the rules, and they thought that they won this back. I think it was in 2005. When they came up with a plan. Now it's being said that, well, no, we just accepted the plan. We didn't adopt it. I'm very hopeful that they will see their concerns listened to and agreed to when the commission meets later on this month.
Okay, if you just joined us, you're listening to The Detail on WSLR 96.5 LPFM in Sarasota, Florida, and WBPV 100.1 LPFM in Bradenton, Florida. I am Cathy Antunes. With me today is Mark Pienkos. We're talking about the District 1 County Commission race. We are past the primaries, and I want to remind you all that voting by mail under Florida law, all registered voters are permitted to vote by mail. Voters are encouraged to consider this option for the November general election, as the situation with COVID-19 may make people hesitant to go to the polls in person. You may request a vote by mail ballot in person, by mail, email, fax, or by phone. Only the voter or a designated member of his or her immediate family or legal guardian can request a vote by mail ballot for the voter. To request a vote by mail ballot in Sarasota County, you can go to or call 941-861-6000. The deadline to register to request a vote by mail ballot is October 18th, and they will start being sent out September 24th, exactly 1 week from today. So it's a nice option. You get to really sit and consider your choices. And for some of the local races, which really do matter quite a bit, but often if people go in on election day and they haven't done their prep work, you don't want to be deciding on the fly. So vote by mail can really help with that. So Mark, you mentioned, well, I want to get to this. Let me start actually with something else, but you'd mentioned you're hearing things from voters. So I do want to give you the opportunity to share things that you're hearing that I'm not covering here. But I wanted to touch on infrastructure issues, water issues. We saw how the water infrastructure at the very east end of Bee Ridge Road, there was a lawsuit from some coast water keepers to get the county to comply with the Clean Water Act and to update infrastructure that had been inadequate for quite a while. Actually, going back to 2013, the water infrastructure at Bee Ridge Road was not spill. I don't really like to use the word spilling because that implies an accident. Most people, think of a spill as something that is an accident. But it was continuously overflowing this treated effluent. So it wasn't raw sewage, it was treated, but it was very high in nitrogen and phosphorus. And it was routinely overflowing into the Philippi Creek Basin and is believed by environmentalists to have played a significant role in the red tide blooms we saw, most significantly a few years ago. That really, restaurants closed over the summer, which is a tough time for restaurants anyway, but no one was going out because it was just bad. The red tide was really bad here. So what changes do you believe are necessary regarding how we approach infrastructure, how the county commission approaches infrastructure with regard to just maintaining it, but then also in regard to new development?
A fantastic question, because I think that's pretty much at the heart of what is going on here in Sarasota County. We have to have excellent long-range planning, and we have to fix problems that we have, and then also plan appropriately for the future. Everything that we're seeing as far as the number of people that are coming to Florida, it was always pretty much about 1,000 people a day, but now it's 1,000 people a day because people are trying to escape some of the urban areas of, say, New York City. Think about how it is to live in New York City during the pandemic, and people have realized, we can get out of there. That's fine. So we're gonna come to different places. We're gonna escape that. And some of the places are south, and certainly one of the places is Florida, and certainly Sarasota is a beautiful place. However, if we're not careful, and we are going to see something that's so precious, just not just disappear, but be so as far as environmentally affected by decisions that we're making, that because of planning, and we just have to do the right thing in this regard. And I will say this: people have said this to me: the economy equals the environment, or the environment equals the economy. And if we want to have a good economy, if we want to have jobs, if we want to do things, we have to protect the environment. If we don't, why would people aren't going to come here?
Yeah, it is the goose that lays the golden egg. I know we've referred to it that way here many times. But before the pandemic, I've often quoted this statistic on the show. Half of the children in Sarasota County are eligible for a free or a reduced lunch in our schools, which for me, this is an indicator of where their parents are, financially, right? Whether they're able to earn a healthy living. And now those numbers are likely higher given the economic challenges we're faced with the public health threat of COVID. So tell us what you think the county commission's role is in economic diversification and job creation. What should the county commission's role be in creating better jobs and higher wages for residents?
Well, one of the things that I have said many times is that, one of my strengths throughout my whole career was bringing people together. And what I mean by that is different groups of people, different organizations together, bringing them together, not top down. I think the county commission can take a tremendous lead on working with all the different municipal governments, the various civic organizations, the other entities, bring people together. And by doing that, try to make this a mecca. We can see Sarasota County be a mecca. For example, I think good, sustainable energy jobs. We could be doing that. Solar energy. We could be the mecca in our country, perhaps the world. We can do that because we have a lot of great things that are happening now, but we also can't leave people behind. And that's part of the difficulty of what's happening with COVID-19. Even before, as you said, Cathy, even before COVID-19, we had a lot of people that are not experiencing the best of life that they possibly could enjoy because of a lot of different reasons, as far as maybe their job, unemployment, all those things. Now COVID-19 has been placed on top of everybody. So the county, I think, can play a very, very important role in bringing various groups together, the chamber together, the tourism industry, the different municipalities, Sarasota Hospital, the school system, bring people together to say, how can we make this a even better community for the existing people that are living here, as well as those people that are coming here because of the variety of reasons that they want to do that. Hopefully, to bring jobs and to want to work here. So I think that the county can play a very fine leadership role, and it doesn't have to be, like I say, top down. It's bringing people together.
Yeah, well, it certainly sounds that there's potential with higher education, and job training, or particular focus that we could be doing something like that to, create incubators of new business. People have talked about that sort of thing, but quite honestly, I don't know that we've really done such a great job of it. And yet, these $20 million bonds keep coming down the pike. So I do appreciate your answer on that one. So let me, before we close it up, I just, and before my inevitable, why should people vote for you? Because I will ask you that, but what are you hearing from voters? You say you've been connecting with people, you've been doing precinct walking. What are you hearing, Mark Pienkos, from voters? What are they telling you that maybe we haven't touched on here?
Yeah. Again, you're right. You mentioned about my efforts to try to get familiar with the 15 precincts that comprise District 1. And I've been out and about over the past 3+ weeks doing that. And what have I heard? Whether it's personally, as I'm walking around, or through people giving me calls or emails, text messages, or other people just talking with me, they're concerned about the environment. They certainly are. Again, I'm going to say this. East of the interstate, keep the country. Very, very important. But like I said, that should be a battle cry for all. But the environment is very, very important. They are concerned about other things that are affecting their life, the wastewater treatment issue, red tide, traffic congestion. They're also concerned about, I'll use this term, general term, accountability. Some people just don't feel like they're being listened to. It's interesting. We have commission meetings where, many meetings where hundreds of people ultimately went and spoke about the redistricting issue, or about the issues having to do with the environment or changing the celery fields. We need to have people listen, and that's one of the reasons why those precinct walks, those are the forerunners of my holding town halls or listening sessions in the precincts once elected, because I think an elected official should be held accountable, but also should be responsive and be a good listener, and also be informative about what's going on at the county level.
Okay.
And if I just would say this,
Sure.
we have races going on in District 3 and District 5, and I just want to say this. I appreciate Corey Hutchinson in District 3 running. I'm also, proud to also run on the same ballot with Alice White in District 5. We need to realize that we have an opportunity to be able to have people representing the people of Sarasota County on the commission who are going to be held accountable, as well as also good listeners, and to do what's right for the people in Sarasota County.
Okay. So if you're just joining or you're catching the tail end of the program, you are listening to The Detail. Mark Pienkos, who is running for Sarasota County District 1, is my guest. We did ask Mike Moran. We did not hear back. He is the incumbent. Mark Pienkos, Sarasota County Commission has been 100% Republican for the past 50 years, since 1970. You are a Democrat. Why should District 1 Republican voters choose you? Why should people vote for you?
Great. Another great question. I hope that people will see that I am a sincere individual, a person who, when he says that he is interested in listening and bringing people together to solve problems, that will draw folks, whether they're Democrat, Republican, or party affiliation, MPA. Those independent voters will see me as a person that they would like to have represent them. But I will also say this: I'm fiscally conservative. I just want to reemphasize that I'm fiscally conservative. The issues that are going to face our county are going to be massive with the efforts, with the effects of COVID-19. But throughout my whole life, I mean, I worked in school districts that were extremely conservative districts, and one of the last districts I worked in had no debt, and the board didn't want to have any debt. And then in addition, we increased what is called the fund balance. At the same time, we increased the fund balance without, basically raising taxes. The key is listening and working together. But I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm proud of that. And I will try to bring that to the fore at the county level, working with the administrative team there and my fellow commissioners as we sharpen the pencils to try to work through the budget issues that we will face.
Okay, so I want to take the last few minutes of the show and look at some dark money issues. Before I do that, Mark Pienkos, how do people get in touch with you to learn more if they want to volunteer, for your campaign? How do they reach out?
Sure. Please go to my website, electmarkpienkos.com. Just simply electmarkpienkos.com.
That's Pienkos, right?
electmarkpienkos.com.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Well, you're welcome to stay if you'd like, Mark, because the PAC, relative to the topic of the show, I am going to be looking at a PAC called Florida Country. And Florida Country is really was done to benefit Mike Moran. And this PAC was very active in, let's see. I'm going to see if I can do this again. PAC was very active in the primary. I am going to.
It looks as though Cathy accidentally exited out of the program. I'm sure that she will be back momentarily.
Sure, no problem. Thanks, Jacob.
Okay. Thanks everybody for hanging in there with me. I lost you for a minute, but you should be able to see on the screen this Florida country pack. Can you see it, Mark?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just going to bring it down to a different size so it's easier to take a peek at. Okay. So for those of you who are streaming live, thanks for being patient here. Mike Moran's campaign for the primary and Mike Hutchinson's both spent about $50,000 to reach out to District 1 voters. But the PAC Florida Country was also active. And Florida Country, as of September 15th, was their last reported expenditure or contribution. They have collected, this PAC, $115,000 and have spent, well, at least $70,000 on mailers, but there's also online advertising and digital advertising, bringing it up to, plus the research that was done, we're really looking about $100,000. So for listeners out there to understand, the county commission race, just for the primary, has cost the incumbent Republican $150,000 in political spending, most of it from a dark money committee called Florida Country, and then about a third of it from his campaign. Now, we saw something pretty amazing in the elections of August 18th in the school board race, and that was Eric Robinson, who many people in Sarasota County call him the Prince of Dark Money, who are politically aware because he has managed over 90 political committees, $23 million and counting, flowing through those committees. But for his school board campaign, he spent, his own campaign spent $214,000 for a school board race. And the Sarasota Teachers Union PAC, Protecting Our Students, spent another about $34,000, bringing the total to $250,000 in political spending to benefit a school board candidate. If we were to compare on a county, on a proportional basis, Eric Robinson's spending was for the whole county, $250,000. Here we're looking at about $150,000 being spent for one district, right? So that's 20% of the county. You'd have to multiply that by 5. This is just the primary. And we're talking a magnitude of spending, honestly, $750,000 if it were the whole county. I'm trying to just draw some parallels here. The money that is being pumped into county commission races by development interests and by incumbents is staggering. And when you look at the money, which I've tracked here, we've got $25,000 going into the Florida Country PAC. That's from LLCs that were originally, they incorporated in Delaware. They're anonymous. You can't track who those folks are. There's Benderson Development has pumped huge money into this political committee, $36,000. Schrader Manatee Ranch, the developers of Lakewood Ranch, have put in $11,400. There's actually a complaint with the Florida Elections Committee looking at a contribution from Queensgate Homes. It's $2,500 and originally was listed, the company, as being in Ontario, Canada. It's actually illegal for foreign companies to make donations to American campaigns. Certainly, a Sarasota County Commission race, you would not expect to see a Canadian company making donations. Then the address was changed to Lakewood Ranch, but it has yet to be established whether they're actually incorporated in the US. So having a satellite office may not exempt a Canadian company from this restriction. They still may not be able to donate. We'll find out. There's a company owned by Carlos Baruf that has put $2,000 into the campaign. Bo Medred is a financial advisor, a land use advisor. He used to work for the county, over $7,000 in this, and he was an advisor to one of the applicants to put industrial development next to the celery fields. Land use attorney Bill Merrill has $5,000 in here. So the bottom line is, and I guess, Mark, I can ask you, this is a ton of money, $150,000 that were spent to defeat Mike Hutchinson, Republican against Republican. Mr. Moran's campaign chest so far, the reporting on the county website doesn't show much more than the 50 that's already been spent, maybe a few $1,000s. But I would expect there'd be an influx of dollars and more money going into these political committees. I mean, and we know it's possible to win, right? Because Tom Edwards, with 1/10 of the money, about $25,000, Tom Edwards beat Eric Robinson for the school board. He was elected. So I think that was very encouraging to see that money doesn't always carry the day. But still, in politics, the money difference is significant. How do you plan to counter this? I mean, you have right now about how much? $10,000 in your campaign?
Cathy, I have about approximately $28,000.
Okay.
About half of that is my own money, either loaned or contributed to my campaign. I appreciate every dollar that has been contributed to my campaign by people who have given $5 and the maximum allowable, which is $200. I think people, as they spoke, and Tom Edwards, who has endorsed me, by the way, Tom's a good friend, good person, I think he showed that money alone does not carry the day. And I would say this, that signs don't vote, PACs in and of themselves don't vote, but people vote. And if people are abhorrent about what you just described, they have a need, they have a right. I feel they have a duty to get out and vote for candidates like myself, Corey Hutchinson, Alice White, and other people up and down the ballot who basically are saying that that's wrong. What you just described is wrong. And I think most people would say that's wrong, to spend that much money in a school board race, that much money in a county commission race when it's only 1/5 the size of the county. Something's wrong here. And people need to say, we're not going to stand for that. And the way to do that is at the ballot box. Vote Mark Pienkos, vote Alice White, vote Corey Hutchinson for county commission, vote Mark Pienkos. And I appreciate everybody that will do that, because we can turn the tide in the favor and do what's right. Do what's right here in Sarasota County.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Mark Pienkos, thanks so much for being with us. As I shared during the show, we did reach out to the incumbent, Mike Moran. Did not hear back. Unfortunately, Mr. Moran has opted out of a number of candidate forums. He did show up for Tiger Bay, but I know during the primary, the League of Women Voters here with Mike Hutchinson, also he did not. He declined to show up. So it's. I would hope that would change. I would hope that we would see these incumbents or those who benefit from political committee money feeling the call to participate, to answer questions and to be on more than just a few forums. I think that's just the right thing to do. So if somehow Mr. Moran, if there was a communication issue, or if he's changed his mind, we'd love to have him on and give him the same kind of time as always our intention. as we did with you, I want to remind everyone that you can vote by mail in Florida, and you are encouraged to do this, or to consider it actually, for the November election, as the situation with COVID-19 may make people hesitant to go to the polls in person. You may request a vote by mail ballot in person, by mail, email, fax, or by phone. Only the voter or a designated member of his or her immediate family or legal guardian can request a vote by mail ballot for the voter. To request a vote by mail ballot in Sarasota County, you can go to sarasotavotes.com or call 941-861-6000. That's 941-861-6000. The deadline to request a vote by mail ballot is October 18th, and September 24th is the date that vote by mail ballots start going out to voters. Also be aware that you can drop off your vote by mail ballot. You don't have to mail it in. If you want to hand deliver it in person to the supervisor of elections, their locations will accept that prior to election day. That's also another great option. So thank you all for listening. Be sure, if for goodness sake, if you're not registered to vote, be sure to register to vote. Thanks for listening. You can go to Sarasota Citizens for Sarasota County on Facebook to keep up with local issues. I moderate that page along with Tom Matrullo, and this broadcast replays every Sunday at 9 a.m. You will be so happy to stay tuned and listen to the sounds of my friend Carlos Pagan and Med Tropics. Make it a great day. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you, Kathy.